This terrifying story happened to a young man named Alex, who had just experienced the most horrifying ordeal of his life. Though his physical health had stabilized, he kept fainting and needed constant assistance from the nurses. Each time he regained consciousness, he would thrash and scream, requiring the intervention of both nurses and the police. A young police officer repeatedly reassured him that he was now safe and under protection. However, what Alex had gone through was too horrifying, leaving him haunted even in his dreams. Alex recalled the horrifying scene. The area was littered with corpses and drenched in blood. Not a single soul had survived. The more he thought about it, the more his head pounded as if it was splitting open. He screamed uncontrollably. Whenever this happened, the nurses were immediately called in. They restrained Alex and administered a sedative. Alex was the most crucial witness in this massacre case, so the police insisted on his intensive treatment at all costs. The case had dragged on for over a week, yet the police had failed to uncover even the smallest clue. The officer, though impatient, ordered the nurses to provide Alex with the best care possible. Even the medical staff themselves were concerned about Alex's condition, as his psychological trauma was severe. A week later, Alex remained the same, lost and hollow. Though his symptoms had slightly improved, he was still unable to provide any useful information. A month ago, an international rescue organization received a distress signal from a ship adrift in the Arctic Ocean, over 4,000 nautical miles from land. The rescue team immediately set out toward the coordinates provided in the distress signal. As their vessel approached, they attempted to contact the ship via radio, but no response came. Refusing to give up, they used loudspeakers to call out in search of survivors. Yet still, there was no answer. A deep sense of unease settled over the rescue team as they realized that something terrible had happened on the ship. Upon boarding, they were horrified by the sight before them. Corpses littered the deck as if a brutal battle between two rival gangs had just taken place. Bodies were sprawled across the control rooms, the sleeping quarters. There were no survivors. The only thing the rescue team could determine was that these men had scouted each other. More horrifying still was the presence of bizarre creatures on the sailors' corpses. Strange parasites no one had ever seen before. Some members of the rescue team were so terrified that they refused to step further into the ship. Eventually, they discovered Alex, the only one still breathing among the dead. In his hands, he clutched a statue. After a month, Alex finally recovered enough to recount the horrific events of that day to the police. He struggled to piece together the fragments of his terrifying memories, unable to comprehend why he was the sole survivor. The officer reassured him, telling Alex that he had been through immense trauma and shouldn't force himself to remember too quickly. Indeed, Alex could only recall fragments at a time. The harder he tried to remember, the more exhausted he felt. In his confusion, he felt as if he was suffocating, suffering from relentless fevers, both great and small. Alex tried to recall everything had begun when his ship docked at a small island. There, the crew engaged in trade and took on a special passenger. He was an American man who introduced himself as Adam, a marine biologist. Adam was open and friendly, quickly bonding with the crew. He always carried an old black suitcase, never letting it out of his sight, not even for a second. Some of the sailors, curious, joked about whether it was stuffed with money. For the first few days after Adam boarded, everything seemed normal. However, as the ship neared its intended route, work became more demanding and the crew paid less attention to him. Just days later, the entire crew, including me, began experiencing severe headaches. Some felt an unusual exhaustion, while others started suffering from insomnia. As for Alex, besides the agonizing headaches, he also experienced bizarre auditory hallucinations. He frequently heard eerie whispers echoing in his ears, even though the surroundings were completely silent. As night fell, the hallucinations became more vivid and disturbing. The sailors also began complaining about strange dreams, as if something from the depths of the sea was calling them. No one could explain what was happening, but everyone sensed that something was terribly wrong with the ship. In those dreams, Alex clearly saw a grotesque creature oozing slime all over the ship's interior. It resembled a massive octopus with long rhythmized by it, unable to move or react. When he awoke from those nightmares, everything felt disturbingly real. A strange heaviness weighed down his body, unlike anything he had ever felt before. He stepped out of his bedroom intending to get a drink of water to clear his headache. As he passed by Adam's room, he accidentally noticed a faint light seeping through the crack in the door. Curious, he peeked through the gap and saw a scene that sent shivers down his spine. Ancient symbols were plastered all over the walls, seemingly part of some kind of old ritual. Looking closer, Alex found them difficult to decipher. He speculated that Adam might be a monk or priest of some obscure cult. Alex also discovered the secret inside Adam's suitcase, an idol. It wasn't particularly special, just a statue of a Greek god. Adam was kneeling before the suitcase, muttering strange phrases in a language Alex had never heard before. Suddenly, an eerie sound emerged from inside the suitcase. It was the exact cacophony Alex had been hearing over the past few days. At that moment, Adam turned and looked at him, making Alex jump in fright. Without hesitation, Alex swiftly left the area. Behind him, Adam's gaze was ice-cold, a cryptic smile forming on his face. The next day, the ship reached the Pacific Ocean. It would take at least another week to arrive at port. Standing on the deck, Alex pondered everything that had happened, the strange dreams and the unsettling presence of Adam. What he didn't realize was that at some point he had fallen under Adam's watchful eye. Adam suddenly appeared behind him and greeted him. However, Alex knew that Adam was hiding something, and it was likely that he had stumbled upon something significant enough to attract Adam's attention. Alex firmly believed that the strange occurrences among the crew only started after Adam's arrival. Out in the vast, endless ocean, if something were to go wrong, escaping would be nearly impossible. Drawing from his years of experience at sea, Alex became more cautious around Adam. Yet he still mustered the courage to approach him in search of more infallibility. Alex bluntly asked Adam if he had heard the strange sounds as well. The noise was never clear, and at times Alex had mistaken it for dolphin calls. But of course that wasn't the case. The sounds brought an indescribable headache to both him and the others. When asked, Adam remained completely calm. He simply said that it was the will of the gods and that soon the gods would reveal themselves. Adam then asked Alex if he would like to enter the world of the gods, calling it an opportunity that not all mortals could obtain. Alex found Adam's words baffling. Was this man just an overzealous religious fanatic? Adam chuckled upon seeing Alex's doubtful expression. He then stated that the whispers of dolphins were nothing compared to the voices of the gods. When the gateway to the divine realm opened, everything would become clear. The more Alex listened, the more he thought Adam sounded like a madman. Suddenly, Adam turned serious. He said that those who entered the realm of the gods would gain everything. Even the language of dolphins, since it was created by the gods, could be understood easily. However, Adam's voice suddenly dropped, and he said that nothing would come without a price. Alex grew intrigued. Though Adam spoke in riddles, his words were undeniably captivating. Adam claimed that greed and human conflict were exactly what the gods desired. Sacrifice was a crucial step in opening the gateway to the divine realm. The more Adam spoke, the more his madness showed. He burst into laughter, then declared that Alex was chosen to be the keeper of the gate. The more Alex listened, the less he understood what Adam was talking about. Suddenly, a hand landed on his shoulder. A fellow crew member told him it was time to get back to work, no slacking off. But that was just an excuse. His friend had intentionally pulled him away from Adam, sensing that the man was dangerous. He warned Alex that there was something unclean on the ship. Hearing this, Alex was even more surprised. He wasn't the only one who had felt uneasy. Perhaps the entire crew had experienced it. Determined to find out the truth, Alex and his friend began questioning the other crew members. They all reported experiencing not only headaches, but also hearing strange, unsettling, clattering noises. However, Alex's friend claimed that he had heard clear voices, whispering directly into his ears and even in his dreams. The voice had called itself Master and spoke of opening the Blood Gate. Someone else scoffed at the idea, calling it nonsense. What the hell was a Blood Gate? At this point, Alex was utterly confused. It wasn't just Adam and other crew members were also talking about some mysterious being known as Master. "Ah, my master, please allow me to enter the Eternal City." Adam's voice suddenly rang out from behind them, dripping with mockery. Seeing Adam appear, one of the crew members discreetly signaled to Alex he had seen what Adam had been doing in his room. It turned out that Alex wasn't the only one who had witnessed it. Others had also seen Adam stealing before the statue, mumbling in a trance. Realizing this, Alex shifted all his suspicion toward the idol hidden inside Adam's suitcase. Another thing that shocked Alex even more was that his friend had secretly arranged a meeting with Adam that night, and they had struck a secret deal. During their conversation, Alex overheard Adam saying that the Master would soon reveal himself to everyone. Adam instructed Alex's friend to keep the statue and vowed that it must not be sold. On this voyage, Adam's mission was to select the next keeper of the statue. Since he was about to enter the realm of the gods, someone else had to take on the responsibility of guarding the gateway. The next morning, the entire crew was overjoyed as they pulled in their fishing nets, revealing a bountiful catch. It seemed like an exceptionally prosperous haul, with an abundance of seafood caught in their nets. However, as soon as they pulled up the nets, everyone was stunned by what they saw. The crabs were infested with horrifying parasites. Strangely, the parasites clinging to their bodies looked like eyes. Veins of blood pulsed across the creatures, creating a nightmarish sight as though their entire bodies had been consumed by the infestation. Witnessing this, Alex was utterly shocked, while Adam was overjoyed, bursting into laughter. He declared that these creatures were guiding signs from the gods. His voice trembled with excitement as he proclaimed that he had finally found the divine. He spoke about the omens that appeared before the gateway could be opened. The monster would soon emerge, leading him into the world of the gods. Each event was guiding him in the right direction, proving that his pursuit had not been in vain. Alex at this point was caught between skepticism and belief. The strange occurrences lately made him wonder if supernatural forces were truly at work in the vast ocean. Adam eagerly instructed the crew to steer the ship westward. Suddenly, the captain spoke up from behind, saying that these creatures were unnatural and useless, ordering the crew to throw them all back into the sea. Adam furiously objected, demanding that the captain not disrespect the gods. The captain sneered, accusing Adam of being a fraud. His mystical nonsense was nothing more than a ploy to manipulate the crew into changing their course for his own agenda. Adam's expression darkened as he called everyone on board a bunch of ignorant fools. His voice took on an eerie tone as he declared that they would all face punishment, becoming sacrifices for the gods. In the darkness, Adam's voice echoed as he chanted curses upon the ship. He was weaving a deadly fate for everyone aboard in exchange for divine blessings. Whether his words were true or not, it was clear that he worshipped the statue with terrifying devotion. The night at sea grew heavier, more ominous than ever. Suddenly, strange sounds reverberated throughout the ship's hold. The crew felt the eerie noises creeping into their heads, followed by intense headaches. Alex, too, felt an excruciating pain, as though his skull was about to explode. Even more terrifying, Alex's friend suddenly started laughing maniacally. He grabbed a knife and lunged at the others, attacking them like a puppet controlled by unseen hands. Chaos erupted as the crew members descended into madness, turning on each other in a frenzied bloodbath. Their attacks were shockingly brutal, filled with the surliest savagery. They spoke deliriously about sacrifices, claiming they were clearing the way for the gods to arrive. Adam declared that the gods were coming and the world needed to be purified. That night, eerie whispers filled the ship, blending with the horrifying screams of those being slaughtered. Alex, overwhelmed by pain and horror, could only listen to the agonizing cries of his crewmates. The night grew late, and the stench of blood filled every corner of the ship's hold. The surviving crew grabbed whatever weapons they could find. They attacked anything that moved, slaughtering anyone who appeared before them. Within a single night, blood flooded the ship's deck, bodies scattered everywhere. Those who remained turned on each other, fighting to the death. Alex witnessed everything, his entire body overcome with terror. One by one, every crew member perished. Alex was paralyzed with fear, trapped in the nightmare. He fled to a corner of the ship, trying to hide, but the strange, unholy noises continued to echo in his mind. He fought against the pain, struggling to keep himself calm. After a moment, he suddenly remembered Adam. This was all his doing. Determined, Alex rushed to find him. But Adam was cunning. He had locked himself inside the control room, barricading the door. Fortunately, Alex managed to track him down. Adam, grinning smugly, told Alex that they only needed to wait. The miracle was about to happen. The gods had heard his call. Soon they would arrive. The stench of blood and death was the perfect offering. Hearing this, Alex could only scream in helpless rage. It was all because of that wretched man. He pounded on the door, shouting in fury. Inside, Adam was ecstatic. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. Suddenly, something massive emerged beneath the ship. Alex felt a horrifying realization. Something monstrous was here, right on the ship. The vessel began to rock violently, but an invisible force had seized it. Huge tentacles began to rise from beneath the water, reaching toward the ship's hull. Alex was petrified. Could it be real? The giant sea monster? It was the same octopus he had seen in his dreams. The enormous creature coiled around the entire ship. Its massive tentacles crashed against the ship's sides, as if trying to drag it into the depths. Adam laughed maniacally, declaring that the moment had arrived the gods would take him to the world he had always longed for. Then, without hesitation, he leaped into the sea, right toward the monstrous tentacles. Alex was thrown overboard, his body frozen stiff, unable to move. In the ice-whole water, he felt an unbearable pain from the monstrous sound resonating all around him. He saw the creature clearly now. It was even larger than in his dreams. Yet, for some unknown reason, Alex survived. He was the only survivor among the more than 100 crew members aboard, while Adam had vanished without a trace. That night, 2 police officers discussed the case, suspecting that Alex might have been the one who killed the entire crew and fabricated the story. Others found the statue eerie, but Alex's account was just as bizarre. Suddenly, one of the officers heard a strange noise, a sound so intense that it felt like his skull was about to split open. The investigating officer felt the same sensation. Then, in shock, he realized the terrifying truth. Outside, piercing screams were echoing through the night.